أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين. Verse number 24 of Surah Al Imran. ذلك بأنهم قالوا لن تمسنا النار إلا أياما معدودات وغرهم في دينهم ما كانوا يفترون. That is because they say the fire shall not touch us except for a number of days, and they have been misled in their religion by what they used to fabricate. This verse is a justification for what they used to do, the Jews of Medina, while they were believing in the book, they were not accepting its rulings. And it was not the case that they did not accept the rulings because they had doubt in it, but because they thought that by disobedience and by just turning away from those laws and those rulings, they will be punished for a little while and then they will be released from the fire of the hell. This is why it says, that is because they say. What is because they say? Turning away from the ruling of God in the previous verse, which read as أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا نَصِيبًا مِنَ الْكِتَابِ يُدْعَوْنَ إِلَى كِتَابِ اللَّهِ لِيَحْكُمَ بَيْنَهُمْ ثُمَّ يَتَوَلَّى فَرِيقٌ مِّنْهُمْ وَهُمْ مُعْرِضُونَ. Have you not regarded those who were given a share of the book, who are summoned to the book of Allah in order that it may judge between them, whereas a part of them refuse to comply. They refuse to comply because not because they do not believe in it, but because they said, even if we do not comply, the fire will not touch us except for a number of days. Now, this was apparently a very common belief among the Jews of the day. And about those number of days, the commentators have suggested a few meanings. One meaning, which is mentioned by Qatada and Hassan al-Basri and a couple of others, Mufassirun from the Tabi'un, is that هي الأيام التي عبدوا فيها العجل. This was the days in which they worshipped the calf. And then there is difference of opinion about how many days that was. Some say that it was 40 days, some say that it was 7 days. Of course, 40 days wouldn't sound reasonable because they didn't start to worship the calf as soon as Moses left them and went for reception of Torah. 7 days may seem more plausible, and that is the view of Hassan al-Basri, the 7 days. However, others have said that they did not say about exactly the days in which they worship the calf, but the number of days that they used to disobey God. That is, for example, if someone says that, okay, I was in disobedience of God, I was not praying for 40 days or 40 years, so I'll be punished for 40 days or 40 years in the fire of the hell, and then I will come out. Apparently, this was the type of belief that they had, that we will be punished according to the number of days that we have disobeyed, that we have sinned in this world, and then we'll come out. Well, that seemed quite reasonable and justifiable for them. And we, as I mentioned last week, we as Muslims also believe, a great number of Muslims, we Shias, the Ash'aris, and Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they believe that the mu'minun, when they go to the hell, if they have faith, if they have iman, after a while they will come out. And this has come to the attention of Sheikh Tusi and Sheikh this comparison has come to the attention of Sheikh Tusi and Sheikh Tabrasi, saying that, okay, they believed in such a thing and we are believing in almost the same thing. So what's the difference? Allah is condemning that type of belief in this verse. Now, they say, I'm going to read the words of Sheikh Tusi here, which is exactly copied in Majma' al-Bayan by Sheikh Tabrasi. So it is something that both of them believed in. He says that هذا لا يدل على خلاف ما نذهب إليه من جواز العفو وإخراج المعاقبين من أهل الصلاة من النار. This verse does not imply that, it does not indicate the opposite of what we believe in. That it is possible that Allah will forgive certain people and let them to come out of the hell after a while, after they have been punished for a while. And of course they should be people of faith and people of among those who believed in the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, or even in other faiths, if they didn't know about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And the reason is that لأننا نقول أن عقاب من ثبت دوام ثوابه بإيمانه لا يكون منقطعا وإن لم يخد علما بقدر عقابه. Now, the argument is this: if you have done something good, you deserve reward. And if you have done it with good faith, with sincerity, that deserving the thawab, the reward, continues. Now, it may be interrupted by something that you have done, and you have to be punished by it. But the continuation of that reward wouldn't go away. It should be there. And therefore, after a while, after that punishment has completely exhausted what you deserve in terms of punishment, then you are reasonably you deserve that you get that reward, and that is paradise and Jannah. Now, the difference is that, and this is a very great difference. This is the crux of the matter. The difference is that the Jews were actually thinking that it is the number of days that we disobey that we deserve punishment. While here we do not say that. We say that it is what your heart has acquired which deserves punishment. And that may not go away for 40 days or 40 years or 400 years. For that to go away, for that to be washed out by the fire of the hell or burned by the fire of the hell, it may last several thousands of years. And that is something that cannot be easily borne by human beings, to stay there for several thousands of years. In effect, what Sheikh Tusi says is that we do not say that لَن تَمَسَّنَا النَّارِ إِلَّا أَيَّامًا مَعْدُودَاتٍ, that fire would not touch us except for a number of days. And that number of days are the number of days that in which we have committed sin. But we say that لَابِثِينَ فِيهَا أَحْقَابًا, they may remain in it for years and years and years until that crime or what is earned by that crime in the heart of the people is burnt by the fire, and then they can come out of it. So the difference is very clear. Had they said that, they wouldn't have, of course, turned away from the ruling of God, because remaining in hell, remaining in that punishment for years and years is not something tolerable for any human being. To summarize, the mistake is that they thought that it is the action and the duration of the action which matters. While it's not the case. In our ordinary life, it's like that as well. For example, if someone kills someone else, they are not going to be punished only for the duration of that killing. They will be put in prison or killed. They will be killed or put in prison for life. That's because the crime is big. And the punishment is not only for that act, the virtual act of killing. It is not only for that. And certainly for the soul to be cleansed from the impurities and evils of sin, sometimes it needs thousands of years to be purified in the hell. So the idea is rejected. ذَلِكَ بَأَنَّهُمْ قَالُوا لَن تَمَسَّنَا النَّارِ إِلَّا أَيَّامًا مَعْدُودَاتٍ is rejected by the following sentence: وَغَرَّهُمْ فِي دِينِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَفْتَرُونَ. And they have been misled in their religion by what they used to fabricate. So what does that mean? We fabricate views and ideas, and then we are deceived by those ideas. And then we do things which are consequences of those deceptions, and those things are wrong. For example, if I say, just as an example, if I say that because I'm a Shia, I will not be put in hell, and Ali, peace be on him, will save me from hell, no matter what I do. Okay, this is an idea that I have created. And it is according to what we know from Shia faith, according to what we know from Quran, according to what we know from the hadith of Ahlul Bayt. This is a fabrication. This is not true. That no matter what I do, because I am born a Shia, and because I have mentioned the name of Ali in my life, I will be saved from fire of the hell. So this is a fabrication. And this fabrication may lead me to do whatever evil I like to do, and then I say that, well, I'm not going to be punished. This is what the meaning of وَغَرَّهُمْ فِي دِينِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَفْتَرُونَ. Whatever they did deceived them. Whatever they fabricated in their faith deceived them and misled them to doing all those evils and saying that we will not be punished. And this is a very important matter. Now, there is a question here, is that what was that which they fabricated, by which they were misled and urged to do evil things? Here is the idea that لَن تَمَسَّنَا النَّارِ إِلَّا أَيَّامًا مَعْدُودَاتٍ. This was a fabrication in Judaism. It was not true. It was a fabrication in Judaism. Now, it was made not by them, probably. It was probably made by their ancestors. Because the question comes, how is it possible that you fabricate something, you know that it's a lie, and then you are deceived by it yourself? You may fabricate something to deceive other people, but how is it possible that you fabricate something and you are deceived by it yourself? And this is why some of the commentators said that this is not they fabricated at the time of the Prophet. This is not what the Jews of Medina fabricated. It was fabricated by their ancestors, and then they followed it, and they were deceived by it, and they were misled by it. How true is this in every religion? We see that over years things are fabricated about faith, about the relationship of man and God, about punishment and reward and all these things, and then later generations are misled by it. So that's why Allama Tabatabai says that the fabrication was made before by their ancestors, and they were deceived by it. Not that their ancestors were deceived by it, they made that the fabrication. Well, that is true. However, the other aspect may be true as well. And that is that, yes, we may fabricate something ourselves and we may be deceived by it. For example, if we say that no Muslim will go to hell, this is what we have fabricated. Now, fabrication may not be direct. We may just seeing different narrations, disregarding other narrations, disregarding the Quran, and come to such an opinion and such a view, and then we will be misled by it ourselves as well, because we say, okay, if no Muslim will go to hell, so no matter what we do, we are promised paradise. So this is the meaning of وَغَرَّهُمْ فِي دِينِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَفْتَرُونَ. And whatever they fabricated in their religion, that's something pertaining to religion, of course, connected, related to religion. If they fabricate, then they were misled by it. Okay, the next verse says, verse number 25, فَكَيْفَ إِذَا جَمَعْنَاهُمْ لِيَوْمٍ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ وَوُفِّيَتْ كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَا كَسَبَتْ وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. But how will it be when we gather them on a day in which there is no doubt, and every soul shall be recompensed fully for what it has earned, and they will not be wronged? Now, the answer is very forceful and powerful. That first of all, there is a day in which there is no doubt. Secondly, every soul will receive fully what they have earned. And the earning of the soul is different from just committing an act. We may commit an act, but our soul may earn lots of evil or lots of purity by that act. وَوُفِّيَتْ كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَا كَسَبَتْ وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. And then there is no wrongdoing, there is no injustice on that day. First of all, the فَكَيْفَ إِذَا جَمَعْنَاهُم means فَكَيْفَ يَصْنَعُونَ إِذَا جَمَعْنَاهُم. What are they going to do? They have fabricated something here. And what are they going to do when we gather them for that day, while they have done this fabrication and they have been misled by that fabrication, and they have done things that would lead them to grave punishment? What are they going to do on that day? إِذَا جَمَعْنَهُمْ لِيَوْمٍ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ, in which there is no doubt. Now, rayb is not any type of doubt. For any type of doubt, we use shak. Shak is when you are in doubt whether something is true or not true. However, rayb is not only that. Rayb is something related to our hearts as well. And that's, for example, if you doubt whether there is a galaxy in several million years, light years away from us. Okay, you doubt it. You are a scientist. You have studied the heavens, and then you have come to that sort of doubt. Does it exist? Does it not exist? Well, it's a doubt, but it doesn't relate to your day-to-day life. It's not important. It's a scientific doubt. But rayb is something which brings consternation, which is related to your life. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. If you have rayb in this book, in which you have to believe, then of course you may get worried. Is that true? Is that not true? What is my position? What is my duty towards it? Here, the day of judgment is a day in which there is no doubt, no rayb. Because if we have rayb in that day, then that brings that consternation and worry in our hearts. And worry in the sense that the actions that we are to do, if we are in doubt about that, are all affected by this type of doubt. Anyhow, this is something mentioned about the difference between rayb and shak. Rayb is something which brings worry and consternation to heart, while shak is just a doubt about something which is not very much related to us. فَكَيْفَ إِذَا جَمَعْنَاهُمْ لِيَوْمٍ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ وَوُفِّيَتْ كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَا كَسَبَتْ. Here, the answer is this, that it is not the actions that you do which are counted, and the duration in which you have committed those sins or performed those actions which matters. It is what your souls have gathered. Because although they may have done sawab for their iman, however, the evil is so grave and so great that would not allow them to be released of it and attain that sawab and reward for their good actions. So the matter is not what you have done and the duration of what you have done. The matter is what your souls have gathered and has acquired. So فَكَيْفَ إِذَا جَمَعْنَاهُمْ لِيَوْمٍ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ وَوُفِّيَتْ كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَا كَسَبَتْ. This وُفِّيَتْ, tawaffa is to receive in full. So وُفِّيَتْ كُلُّ نَفْسٍ, here is the term is waffa, means it has been fully given to them. It has been fully given to them what they have earned. In essence, Allah does not reward or punish. In essence, what happens is that whatever you have done, Allah preserves and fully returns to you. It is you who are the one who punishes yourself or reward yourself. Allah just keeps whatever you do and keeps your heart the way it has been developed in this world, and then will give it back to you fully. وُفِّيَتْ كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَا كَسَبَتْ. There's a verse in the same surah, verse number 30, Surah Al Imran, which says, يَوْمَ تَجِدُ كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَا عَمِلَتْ مِنْ خَيْرٍ مُحْضَرًا وَمَا عَمِلَتْ مِنْ سُوءٍ. The day when every soul would see what they have done in terms of good or in terms of evil, presented to them. It is present. It is there. يَوَدُّ لَوْ أَنَّ بَيْنَهَا وَبَيْنَهُ أَمَدًا بَعِيدًا. They wish that there was a long distance between them and their evil actions. This بَيْنَهَا returns to أَمَلَتْ مِنْ سُوءٍ, between them and their evil actions. وَيُحَذِّرُكُمُ اللَّهُ نَفْسَهُ وَاللَّهُ رَءُوفٌ بِالْعِبَادِ. So here, the actions are given to you fully. And those actions are not effective in themselves. The actions are effective for what they have, for the print that they have left in your soul, and that is the gathering of your soul. Your actions, not the very thing that you have done, but the effect that they have done on your soul will be presented to you. And then here I would like to mention something very interesting from the Sunni commentator Mustafa Ahmad Maraghi, who has passed away a few decades ago. He says here that لا يفيد ولا يفيدهم, after every soul is given fully what they have earned, ولا يفيدهم الانتماء إلى دين معين أو مذهب خاص. Here on that day, it would not avail them to attribute themselves to particular religion or particular madhab. Someone say, well, why I'm punished? I was a Muslim. Why I'm punished? I was a Jew. Why I'm punished? I was a Christian. No. Or why I'm punished? I was Sunni. I was Sunni, or I was a Shia. I'm just reading what Mustafa Ahmad Maraghi is saying here. That ولا يفيدهم الانتماء إلى دين معين أو مذهب خاص. To attribute oneself to a particular religion or particular mazhab will not avail. إذ لا امتياز لشعب على شعب, because there is no privilege for one nation over another nation. Although one may call nation of Allah, one may call themselves nation of Allah, and there is no privilege for one person over another person, saying that because I am, for example, a descent of such and such person, وَإِن لَقَّبُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ بِأَبْنَاءِ اللَّهِ, even if they call themselves, we are sons of God. Here, of course, he's somehow indicating his intention towards Christians. فَإِنَّ الْجَزَاءَ يَوْمَئِذٍ إِنَّمَا يَكُونُ بِمَا فِي دَاخِلِ الصُّدُورِ. The jaza, the retribution, punishment and reward is for what is inside the heart. لا بما في خارجها وبما أحدثته الأعمال فيها من صفات حسنة أو قبيحة. And what the actions have created for the soul, whether they are good attributes or evil attributes. The actions leave imprints on the soul, and the soul would receive whatever it has earned on that day. Okay, فكيف إذا جمعناهم ليوم لا ريب فيه ووفيت كل نفس ما كسبت وهم لا يظلمون. And they will not be wronged. Here, they will not be wronged means that it is absolute justice on that day. Of course, in addition to justice, there is rahmah, there is mercy, there is shafa'ah. That's true. That doesn't mean when we say that every soul would receive fully what they have done, it doesn't mean that the rahmah of Allah will go away, or shafa'ah will go away, or forgiveness will go away. However, these are things which may come later on, after we are judged according to our actions. And for that judgment, there is absolute justice. فَهُنَاكَ الْعَدْلُ الْكَامِلُ. No one will receive a reward which is less than what they deserve. And no one will be punished more than what they have performed, the sins that they have performed in this world. Although, because of the mercy of Allah, the good acts will be multiplied, the evil acts would remain the same. As much as is possible, Allah will try to remove them. The verse, in a sense, is telling us that that it is you who make your hereafter. It is you who make your fire or paradise. Allah tries to move you away from fire. However, if the actions have left an imprint of the soul in which it would not be removed easily except by burning in the fire of the hell, then you will go to the fire of the hell. And Sheikh Maraqi says, وَالْأَبْرَ حِينَئِذٍ بِتَعْثِيرَ الْعَمَلِ فِي النَّفْسِ. This is a very beautiful expression he is using, that it is not the action itself only, it is the influence that the action leave on the heart. So if the heart is surrounded by evil, as we have in the verse of the Quran, بَلَا مَنْ كَسَبَ سَيِّئَةً وَأَحَاطَتْ بِهِ خَطِيئَتُهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ. Whoever performs or earns a sayyi'ah, and that surrounds him, the khati'ah of that sayyi'ah surrounds him, then of course there will be inmates of hell, and they will remain there forever. We only come out of hell not after ayyam and ma'dudat, after a number of days, but only after the soul has been got rid of those evils which have surrounded it. رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
Thank you very much, Sheikh, for that talk. We're just awaiting Sheikh to join us. In the meantime, I'm just going to make a few quick announcements. Inshallah, this Friday on the 30th of October, we're going to have a talk by Muhammad Amarsi, who's going to be talking about lives and livelihood, impact of Brexit, foreign affairs, and COVID-19. Please do join us. We're also going to have our Miladun Nabi program on the 1st of November, and inshallah, we will have a talk by Dr. Imran Ali Panjwani. Sheikh has just joined us, so we will inshallah resume the Q&A session. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you keeping?
Alhamdulillah, very good, very good. Inshallah, everything is good there.
Inshallah, alhamdulillah, yes, we're all keeping well.
Yes.
Right. Sheikh, if I begin with a question. You mentioned that the soul is the one that is gathering this goodness and this evil and all of that. What do you mean by this? Would you be able to expand a little bit further on this?
Well, you know, the actions that we do disappear. What remains is what our hearts, our personality, what we call the self or nafs, has been shaped by what we do. So it's the shape that our soul assumes by the actions we do. And that shape is what would determine our destination in the next life. So it is natural that the evil and the good are attributes of the soul and not the body. Although we will have body on that day, and although our bodies will be in pain or pleasure, however, it is a result of what our souls have acquired. It is something which is reflected outside from our soul. And we have verses in the Quran as well, for example, about the type of fire in the hell. It says, Narullah al-muqada allati tattali'u ala al-af'idah. This fire is the heart is exposed to this fire. It actually burns what is in the heart. And the heart, we know that in the Quran, heart is used as the soul. So it is the soul which feels the pain and pleasure. However, that pain and pleasure, of course, is experienced by our body as well.
Thank you very much. So we have a question from the YouTube channel. Is it correct to say that these imprints of actions make our character traits, so the fire of hell burns away and a changing of character traits? Is this also tazkiyah?
Yes, exactly. That's the tazkiyah that we can very easily do in this world. However, when we go to the next world, when the soul has been shaped already, then it is very difficult. It's not in our hand to change anymore. It's something which comes from outside to change it. And yes, the fire of the hell can change our character. And that's why some people eventually will come out of the hell.
Thank you. So you mentioned that Tusi put forward the argument that if you've done good and bad deeds, then you will be rewarded for your good deeds, but first you will have an interruption with the punishment of your bad deeds, followed by the reward for your good deeds. Now, is this not a bit different to the way that we sometimes think about Qiyamah as having a mizan, as having a scale? Because the outcome of a mizan is singular. It's either my good deeds are heavier than my bad deeds, and so I go to heaven, or vice versa. So would these two interpretations of Qiyamah not contradict one another?
No, it doesn't. The point is, by Mizan, if the evil actions are more, then we have to go to hell. And if we have good actions, we have to be rewarded for that. So if the Mizan is less than what is required for going to paradise. However, if the faith is there, if the action to be purified for those evil actions, which are not permitted into paradise. Also, I mean, all these stages that Allah has put is somehow to admission to the paradise without going to hell. However, for some people, that is not possible. They have to go to hell. Now, for some people, it's not possible to come out at all because their evil will never end and it continues. However, for some other people, yes, it's possible. If Allah's forgiveness, if the shafa'a, all those things have not been able to remove that evil from him, then of course they have to remain in hell for some while. And some while, as I mentioned, is not what the Jews in Medina were thinking, that it is according to the number of the days that we have performed evil. It is something which sticks to our heart and it has to be removed. Therefore, you are right. If our actions are good enough and more than our evil actions, the evil actions may be forgiven and we go to paradise, unless it is impossible for the evil actions to be removed. And it's more than the good actions. Although there is some good actions there, but the evil actions are more than good actions, then we have to go to hell and somehow purified for that.
Thank you for that clarification. That makes a lot more sense. Then this concept of good. So you mentioned obviously the reformist's thoughts. I forget his name, but you mentioned that he had this idea of this eternal or this overwhelming idea of justice that prevails for everyone. But what do we mean by this concept of good? So what would a good action for us be?
Well, good action is the same for everyone, of course. However, based on our ideology, based on our faith, we may define it in different ways and give it different names. However, obedience of God, our Creator, is always good. Now, some people may not believe in that, but it doesn't actually change the reality that we have to obey our Creator. And before that, we have to be grateful to our Creator. As I said, rejection of some people, the idea of Creator, would not change that at all. Also, after having that idea, doing whatever our Lord has actually suggested and commanded us to do, and whatever He has prohibited us not to do, and avoiding from that is also a requirement of good. Now, there are certain things which are in human fitra as good. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. Allah has inspired us with the idea of good and bad. So we know that injustice is bad. We know that wronging others is bad. We know that killing people is bad. We know that lying and dishonesty is bad. This is in our nature. And then they find different forms and different aspects during the time in different societies, in different ideologies, which people have to follow.
So continuing on from this, we have another question. What actions can weigh upon our spiritual illness and cause tazkiyah here?
Well, you know, actions are not restricted to the actions of outward actions. I mean, what we do by our limbs and what we do in our day-to-day life. Sometimes more important are the heart attitude. And I think what can overcome all evil is humbleness towards God. That is very important. And that actually could completely changes our attitude towards life, our attitude towards what we do, and it may completely burn away and change and remove the evil which may be in our heart. We are selfish creatures, and that selfishness in its own respect is good, because it's because of that selfishness that we preserve ourselves, we do things for our betterment and all these things. However, that should not be mistaken by the fact that we are creatures made by someone else, and we have to be humble towards that. For that selfishness, sometimes we decide that, for example, what we think about the situation should be is better than what our Creator has, for example, made as a situation. We think that our decisions have priority over His decisions, and that's why we lose our patience. That's why sometimes we object to what happens in this world, and also we think that our pleasure should be first, and then other things. And that's why we think that, well, the rituals and acts of worship, which are very important for the growth and promotion of our spiritual life, should be set aside, and we seek our bodily pleasure. We have to make a balance here, and humbleness towards God must overcome our selfishness towards our pleasures and our aspirations and things like that. That humbleness towards God, and by humbleness I don't mean just something apparent, something superficial, something deep in the heart, which can actually change all our attitude and bring love for God, bring absolute submission to Him. That is something which can overcome all evil.
Thank you very much. The last question we have is, it's sometimes said in the majlis that one tear shed in the majlis of Imam Hussein will cancel all your previous bad deeds. So firstly, is something like this correct? And if it's incorrect, how do we stop it from being spread?
Well, the point is, with what background we shed that tear. Sometimes we shed that tear because, for example, our heart breaks for what has happened, just in the same way that we may shed tears for a similar situation, for example, somewhere else. Yes, if that is truly because we are attached to Waliullah, and because we feel that awliya Allah must be respected, and this is a disrespect to them, this is a heinous crime, then that may change our attitude towards life. Otherwise, just continuing doing evil and going to Majlis of Imam Hussein and shedding tears while we are wronging other people, while we are not regarding our duties towards others, towards God, certainly that doesn't work. Certainly that's just a fable. It's not something that our A'imma had ever said.
Thank you very much, Sheikh. I think we'll end here. Again, thank you for all of your time and all of the insight that you shed on these Quranic verses for us. Thank you so much for
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Inshallah, we resume again the same time next week.
Inshallah. Thank you. Fi amanillah.
Fi amanillah.